Cross-examination, Your Honor. Christopher Grant for the prosecution. Commissioner, proceed.
You may.
Good morning, Ms. Covington.
Good morning.
Ms. Covington, are you familiar with the summary of the two proposals that you wrote out?
I did not write a summary of the proposals, but I am familiar with it.
Would you recognize a copy of those proposals if I had it here to show to you today?
I would.
Permission to approach opposing counsel and the witness in turn with the summary of the two proposals that again the commission received.
You may.
What is that I've just handed you?
This is the proposal that Detective Keenan wrote up regarding the two proposals.
Does it appear to be changed or altered in any way?
No, it does not.
At this time, prosecution moves to admit prosecution 2 into evidence.
Any objections?
No, Your Honor.
This is in evidence.
So, you say that you have a degree in economics.
I do.
Now, when casinos are built in Midlands, they're supposed to bring economic revenue to the community of Midlands.
Absolutely, yes.
Now, I'd like to direct you to the bottom of the proposal for proposal 2.
Yes.
The last sentence, to be specific. Read along silently as I read aloud. Economic benefits to the local area have not been calculated, but are expected to be larger than those for proposal 1. Did I read that correctly?
You did.
Now, also, I'd like to direct you to something on proposal 1. In the first paragraph, in the last sentence, it says, note that never in Midland's history has a single person or company been allowed to hold 2 casino licenses.
Yes, but Avery deserved this casino.
Now, you said something on direct that I found interesting, so I wrote it down. You said that Shannon Stark had no prior business experience.
Yes.
Now, if someone who's never played basketball before tries to play basketball, at some point, Michael Jordan had no basketball experience at some point, correct?
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
May I, Proctor?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'm coming up with this on the spot, but
I
I'm
know.
trying to prove the fact that just because she didn't have business experience doesn't mean she can't gain business experience and become a successful business owner, as that Avery Bancroft at some point had no business experience, and now the defendant claims that Avery Bancroft is one of the most successful business owners in Midlands. The fact that Shannon Stark had no prior business experience is not an excusable reason for her not to be considered for her proposal.
May I respond, Your Honor?
Yes.
Opposing counsel can surely go into whether or not the witness and Ms. Covington had reason to vote against Shannon Stark. However, bringing up an example of Michael Jordan is completely irrelevant when he can simply ask the question to Ms. Covington himself.
I do agree with defense counsel. Your question was asking the defendant whether Michael Jordan was successful outside of basketball. That isn't necessarily relevant, but I think you can rephrase it to not include Michael Jordan.
I'm sorry,
So
Your Honor.
sustained.
I'm sorry. Now, you would agree that at some point, Avery Bancroft had no business experience.
That's not entirely true. He inherited the Black Bear Casino from his father when he passed away, and he grew up around this business experience. He grew up with this casino.
But Avery Bancroft did not own a business from the time of his birth.
That is true. I don't think anybody can own a casino at the time of their birth.
So at some point, Avery Bancroft had no business experience.
Yes, that is true.
But Avery Bancroft has grown to be a successful business person.
The most successful business person.
So anyone new in anything can grow to be very successful in anything.
Objection, Your Honor. This is speculation. This is saying that anybody has the ability to do exactly what Avery Bancroft did.
Sustained.
Now I'd like to direct you to something you said on your direct examination. You said because Shannon Stark is a poker player, she would take business risks.
Yes, that is true.
You play poker, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Do you take risks in casinos? Do you take risks when you're issuing new casino licenses out?
No. I'm not going to risk anything with the state of Midlands and its people.
But you judge Shannon Stark on the fact that she's a poker player.
I don't, yes, because she is a poker player, I know that she will take risks.
But you are also a poker player, and you just said that you do not take risks.
Yes, but that's not relevant because I am not owning a casino.
Now, I'd like to also direct you to something else. Where were you at the time of your arrest?
I was at my home.
Now, also, you deposited $200,000 in your bank account on April 17th.
I did.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, Ms. Covington. At this time, I have no further questions for this witness. Commissioner.